All right, so today is the 23rd of August, and we are meeting for a GitLab community office hours, and we'll be discussing the list of issues that the CI/CD UX team members have prepared and kept contribution ready for the upcoming hackathon. Um, just for to provide some introduction, the CI/CD UX team, like we were on making a list of quick win usability issues ready for contribution this week. We dedicated a lot of energy and focus in making this happen. So, yay, kudos to the team. Then we'll talk about all these list of issues that we have prepared, the area in the product they'll be impacting, and the potential guidance that you will need as a contributor um, while working on it. Daniel, I just wanted to check, like, how do I share this agenda with everyone? Should I just drop it here in the chat?
Yeah, you could drop it in the Zoom chat to start. If you have like a Google Doc or something, that would be good. We could also, if you want to add it to that Discord channel thread too. I think I just dropped a like a reminder about the event starting in the contribute channel, so you could always drop a link in there also.
And do we also give editor right to the community for the docs?
Yeah, that way they could contributors could add their own questions in there too. As long as just as long as it's not any safe material, you're good to publicly share the link.
Okay, yeah. All of these issues are public.
Great.
Yeah, so I just put it in the chat here, and that's what, like, those are the items that I'll be talking about. And after that, we can just like go through any discussion items that any of you would add to the agenda. Um, so the benefits, like why did we do this? Why do we think that this effort is going to be beneficial for the community? So for Quints, that means there are issues that are easy to handle. They have a weight of one or two, many of them, not all of them. It will help you kick off your journey as a contributor if you're a new contributor with good support, as these issues have a very well laid out design proposal, implementation guide. So there is like way lesser chance for change of direction while you're in the middle of the merge request. If you check in the agenda, I've put different queries. Like one link is for specifically CI section quick wins, then CD section quick wins. Then for each of the stage groups in the CI/CD space. And one tip that I want to give you is all these lists are updated by, like, are sorted by date updated. The ones at the top you would see are the ones that we have recently visited. We have recently like updated the notes for. So those are the best ones. Start from the top. Um, yeah, and that is it. And as contributors, you'll be able to ask more focused questions to GitLab developers who have added the technical guide to those issues. And you'll be able to make faster progress. You'll be making improvements to some very high impact features through this list of issues. Daniel, do you want to add anything before I hand it over to the designers to talk about their issue lists?
Sure. So how about maybe a little context for people who are new to new to contributing and contributing to GitLab. For these issues that you've curated for the hackathon, how familiar would a new contributor have to be with using CI/CD? Are there any issues that would also be beneficial for someone who's not as familiar with using GitLab CI/CD, or they kind of require that knowledge?
Not for knowledge is not required for all of the issues, especially for the quick wins. They are mostly like some front end improvements. So they can just go to, and those features are mostly available in free tier. It's not like you have to use the GitLab CI features to be able to be familiar with those pages. You can easily locate those pages, file paths have been provided. And yeah, you can, it's mostly about making improvement to some components, some design styles. So those are the simpler ones. I would say if you do not have experience working with GitLab CI/CD, go for the quick wins first.
Perfect. And then how about, especially for people who are trying to learn more about that, can you speak to like the impact that these contributions would have on improving the usability of GitLab CI/CD? Anything, even a broad view of that?
Sure. So these are like some of the issues that are very carefully curated that have a very high influence on how users would do perceive GitLab CI features. Um, these improvements, they might seem small, but they make significant change to the workflows. They bring in transparency, visibility. They are improving. They're probably also shortening the length of the workflow. So all these many kinds of usability improvements. Um, and of course, like this has a direct impact on the usability score of GitLab, and it's a very heavily used area in GitLab CI/CD. So any impact is twofold, I would say.
That's great. And as a lover of UX myself, I'm always happy to see these sort of improvements come through. So that's great. Do you want to hand over to your designers for more detail?
Yeah, so I'll pass it on to Sunjung to talk about the pipeline authoring issues. So she'll start with just a brief introduction about what authoring group is about and then the list of issues that she has.
So I'm the designers on the pipeline authoring team, and I'm not so sure like if I should like share my screen and then like share each of the issue here. I think maybe that takes a lot of time. So I'll just like give you a general understanding like what pipeline authoring focus on at the moment. So as you see in the list, we're responsible for working on the CI/CD catalog. So there are already 3 identified issues for the CI/CD catalog, mostly on the front end side. And the other area that we're working on is pipeline editor, and it's also shared responsibility with the pipeline execution. So we also kind of have on the build and pipeline page and also the pipeline graph page. I am sure you're already very much familiar using those pages. So I don't think like we have, okay, so I don't think we have identified anything like suitable for this time of hackathon regarding that pipeline graphs, but there are one issue that was identified for the community contributor, but that got already assigned today, like a couple of hours ago. So that was relevant to the CI variable drawers. And the other is, so I tried really hard to also identify backend issue for the quick win, and I was able to identify one. I hope it's a quick win because I already consulted with our backend engineers, so I'm pretty sure it could be a quick win. So there is one for the syntax improvement that is about the rules syntax and also the error message improvement. So yeah, I would greatly appreciate if you need like any questions, if you want to work on this, like please don't hesitate to ping me on the issue so that I can assign to all of you to the issue and then we can communicate on the MRs as well. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sinchin.
Yeah, thank you.
Tina, do you want to take up?
Yeah. So I work in the runner space, and for ours, most of the issues have to do with the job log, actually, which is I typically work in the space where you're managing many runners, but we are expanding that because the runner is the thing that provides the job logs, like the log output. So I have a lot of quick wins in that area where we are improving some of the actions in the toolbar of the job log page, and then some stuff that the runner actually exports, like timestamps. In addition to that, we also work on CI/CD analytics, and we're going to do like a full revamp to that page in the soon, some of the milestones ahead of us. And so there's some small quick wins there as well, front end in that area as well. And then lastly, we recently came out with a Google Cloud runner workflow. So you can create runners using Google Cloud. And there's some, again, mostly front end quick wins there that I'm going to create soon. And there was one issue that was already picked up by a community contributor as well. So I would say, like for most of these though, you don't have to have experience with CI/CD to be able to pick them up.
I'll say that that's cool, Gina. And I actually wasn't too familiar with the CI/CD analytics page itself, so I wasn't even aware of that. So it's nice to see an opportunity come up and that someone's already picked it up.
Yeah, that's going to be a really exciting project for us to work on too, just because a lot of people aren't aware of it and we're going to improve it a lot. So I'm excited about it.
Amazing. All right, so talking about my area in GitLab CI/CD, which is pipeline execution, we mostly look at all the features that sort of play a role when a pipeline has been kicked off, like once it is picked up by the runner, it's being executed, all the way till like it concludes, succeeds, fails, does whatever. So the features or the areas that the issues that I've recently readied, they relate to are the pipeline schedule page, artifacts, the job list view, accessibility widget, and merge widget. These are, I'm trying to like spot the one that is most difficult to, but it's, yeah, maybe the last one, maybe the one with the merge widget is something that's, no, the one with accessibility widget requires a little more effort, but otherwise most of them are quick wins or a little more than quick wins, but not too large. And yeah, this is the list that we have so far. Any questions like Sunjung and Gina mentioned, if you have about um, the problem space, any guidance you need, any assistance you need, please feel free to tag us. If we are not able to help directly, we'll definitely get you in touch with the right engineers who can answer your questions in a more focused way. That is it from me. Any questions from participants?
I have a general question. I'm assuming these are mostly all UI related, so you'd want to have the GDK set up and you'd want to help visualize them there to really verify that you're making the right changes, right?
Right.
Do you have any back-end focused stuff?
There might be. I think Sunjung talked about one. There might also be some in my list and Gina's list. Gina, especially because runners is pretty back-end heavy stuff.
Yeah, I've
I
actually looked
Yeah,
at
just,
the runner code before, so that would be interesting. And I've used the runners heavily, so I'm very familiar with them.
Nice. Yeah, I have at least two that I will add to this list. We just need to get we haven't added an implementation guide there yet, so I would just need to have the developer work with me on that today.
Yeah.
yeah, and then in this list, I just like shortlisted this like quick win issues. But if you just remove the quick wins and just looking for seeking community contributors, like we have a couple
Okay.
more backend and also even docs improvement if you're interested in contributing our documents.
yeah.
I'm great at the back end. Front end, I'm used to React, so I don't know how helpful I'll be with you. But yeah, back end and documentation, and also like I even developed some CI/CD components. I don't know if you have any stuff along those lines that you're interested in.
I think we do. The lists are pretty long. So the issues that we specifically spoke about are the most recent ones, but the specific queries that I've listed on the top, like those 6 links,
Yeah,
when you click on those, on the ones that are like the bottom 4, they'll take you to the complete list and you will
nice,
find all sort of issues there.
nice. Yeah, I might take on you use Vue for your front end framework, right?
Yes.
My one big problem is I don't have Ruby on Rails experience. I have a little bit of Ruby, but not Ruby on Rails. So I find the hard time I have with your code base is finding where the UI code is, navigating through Ruby on Rails to get there, just because of my lack of experience. I would be interested to dig in a bit more. And so if there is some relatively easy ones there that I can sink my teeth into, I'm interested. also be interested in some back end, and I don't mind, you know, carrying water, chopping wood either. So if you have some of those docs or something very annoying and repetitive, even, I'm cool to take some load off.
Sure.
Yeah, I just added the point here in the pipeline authoring section. So if you click on the link on the docs, like there's seeking community contribution, that would include some of the backend and also the docs update. So feel free to review it, and yeah, let me know if you want to pick those up.
Yeah, will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Joel, you made a good point there about trying to like locate where something is, especially if you're not used to Ruby on Rails.
Yeah.
Maybe the team can speak to this a little bit. I know sometimes if I'm in the GDK, I'll just bring up DevTools, inspect certain elements, try to then in the comments that come up, locate the particular the MVC situation that I'm looking for Ruby on Rails. I don't know if that's the tip from the team here, or what's the best way to try to locate some of those files.
Is there any browser plugins for Vue like React does that might help you at least identify the component so that you can search for it in the source code?
I wish we had like our front-end engineers join this meeting. They would have been able to guide you so much better. But I think that with the implementation guides, getting to the specific files should be much
It's
easier.
probably there already.
Yeah.
I can appreciate how much work that takes. That's insane. You basically solve the problem and then you give it to someone else to resolve.
It's really appreciated. We are making a big push at GitLab to have quick win labels require the implementation plans and have those initial steps. It doesn't always have to be so detailed and laid out, but that's really helpful for first-time contributors to have those steps in place. But we are going to start requiring some sort of level of implementation plan where you have at least some initial guidance, because the feedback we've gotten from the community is that often something's labeled a quick win and it's not a quick win at all. And so it's frustrating when you look for that and you turn out that, hey, you have no idea how to get started, or maybe you do get started and then it turns out actually this wasn't a valid issue anymore. So we're trying to do more refinement here, and we really appreciate these curating efforts by the teams to put these lists together to give guidance.
Yeah, no, it's appreciated, and I can appreciate how hard that is to get done.
And one other question I would have would be, I'm understanding all these are sort of like individual issues to solve for contributors. Are there any like repeatable, like an epic or like a master issue that has like a repeatable task of, you know, sometimes the docs team gives us something and it's like, here's 50 different files where you could make a certain type of change and it's all in one issue? Or
I saw one of those. There's one for a bunch of the docs where accessibility for images. I did the first 5 of those already, and there's tons more. That might be a good one to bring up to people. I know Lee Ticket on Discord brought it up a few days ago. It's a long list.
Yeah, so we highlight issues like that too. For first timers, just if there's like a repeatable task to bring up during the hackathon. And if you don't have any like that, that's also fine. But I was just, if you do point it out to me, and I'll make sure that gets highlighted also.
I think that's a good point. We don't have a thematized list as of now because it was difficult for us to identify one particular theme or area where a lot of improvements can be made. But going ahead, like if that really is desired, something that is desired, we can maybe pay more attention to making one such list.
Yeah, and the good thing about something like that, if you have something that's repeatable, is we can like demo it for contributors where we have a auto-correctable Rubocop fixes issue. And so these are changes to the Rubocop linter and formatter that we use in Ruby. And it's a whole big list of all the different offenses that are auto-correctable. And then we sort of demo to contributors how to do one. And then anyone else can kind of pick up the instructions there and do it for another kind of thing. That's probably not always the case with UI fixes. So it might not be easy to put something like that together, but if you do have that for next time, that's always helpful.
Got it. Noted. Thanks.
Otherwise, we'll do is we'll share either this Google Doc during the hackathon. We'll keep pointing out to this link, or I can also you can make this into like an issue on your project, or like just like as like a master issue to then have all these bullets with the individual links underneath it. But either way, we'll continue to call attention to this curated list so that hackathon participants can pick these up.
That's great. If this like really works out, this was sort of a pilot by our team, but if this really works out, we would consider like repeating this every quarter before the hackathon, so that way all the feedback that we are getting, we can incorporate those, we can do better, improve how we are presenting these issues, and maybe have like a dedicated issue to share with the community with the list that we talked about. Yeah, we can make all those improvements going ahead in future.
Perfect. Yeah. Happy to do that. Happy to help support that. And even if you want to do something outside of a hackathon and just do a community office hours event and present issues, maybe demo like one of the contributions and have someone screen share and drive. You know, those are helpful for bringing contributors outside of hackathon events too.
Got it.
I have another question. I noticed with various GitLab teams, the amount of time they have to support contributors through reviewing MRs and whatnot can differ. What type of turnaround time do you think is fair to expect if somebody posts up an MR or requests a re-review?
If I'm not wrong, it's like within 24 hours you should receive your first response. I mean, once we have been assigned to an MR, we are responsible for the turnaround time, and we always make it our priority. And around hackathons, we are aware that this volume is going to increase, and we make sure that we are accounting for that increased demand for capacity beforehand.
Cool. I'm just highly impatient, so I'm trying to figure out how many times do I hit refresh? Do I spam it once a second, every millisecond, or do I need to pace myself?
I really cannot promise. Like it differs. Like
Yeah,
what's the individual capacity that people
yeah.
are
I'll have to
dealing
slow
with.
down my clicker finger.
And yeah, it really varies by team, Joel. And we, just so you know, every merge request from a community contributor is labeled and triaged. So there are always eyes on every MR. The response rate, it depends on the team. Some teams have much shorter capacity to handle the influx. And like Runner is a good example. Runner gets a lot of community contributions coming in and doesn't have as much reviewer capacity to handle them. So they might have a longer time getting back. In those cases, we keep our eyes on the triage reports, and our team contributor success follows up on some of these lingering merge requests. So we'll, even on your behalf, reach out, ping the reviewers and say, hey, have you gotten a chance to look at this one? Do you still have capacity? Is there someone else available? Just so that you don't stay idle. So you can always feel free to reach out for help. You can reach out to the contributor success team, to the reviewer in there. There's the @GitLab bot help command, which will also ping in one of our maybe about 40 merge request coaches right now. So they could be brought in, and you can ping them and say, hey, can you just give me an assist here, or find me some traction? It's another avenue that we're trying to work on.
Awesome. No, and honestly, you do very well. So don't get me wrong. I'm just curious to hear.
And hi, Nicholas. I see you just hopped on. Nicholas is one of our core contributors and repeat MVPs, and helps out significantly with our community contributors.
Wonderful.
He has like helped many of us on this call get unblocked from GDK issues at least.
Nice. A force multiplier.
And Nicholas, we were reviewing a whole list that's been curated by the team here for CI/CD UX improvements for the hackathon. So there's a running Google Doc. I don't know if you can see. I don't know, does Zoom chat just sort of linger there, or do you have to? Someone
It does, I believe.
Okay, I'm resharing just in case, but I think that's a new addition for Zoom. Any other questions from anyone? And then the last request I would have to the team here, everybody, would be if you get some community contributors coming in and helping out, remember to make nominations for GitLab MVP. So we have the rolling MVP nomination issue list. So you can make, let me just drop a link in there too, so that you can nominate anyone who you thought did a great job or is worthy of recognizing, even if it's like a first contribution. It's really valuable to just get those nominations going to give that motivation for people so that they continue and get that feedback from your team about what the experience is, and like how valuable that contribution is and the impact it has. We always hear great things about people who've been nominated. They really appreciate seeing those feedback and those comments come in.
Of course.
But otherwise, that's all the questions I would have had, and happy to continue to reshare this list of issues, and you can save this recording and put it on GitLab Unfiltered too for sharing.
Sounds good then. Looks like we're all done here. This was fun. I hope we see good contributions coming in. I mean, good number. And yeah, looking forward to help anyone who needs any assistance in the process.
Sounds great. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.